in to the Strike Zone. I am Joe Hunk, joining you live from First Horizon Park as I do every single Thursday night. Now, tonight is a really unique experience here at First Horizon Park because, for one, do not let the grass directly behind me fool you, as we have a ton of people that are already set up over there in the bandbox as they are every single week. Now, we're going to get to your questions. We're going to get to your comments, every bit of that as we go on throughout the evening. So you can get those in whether you're watching on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, no matter where it is. You can do that and been getting those questions in. But I've got to bring in a buddy of mine that I literally talk to every single year when it comes to the College World Series. Now, if you missed it just a couple of hours ago, and I say couple hours ago because when Eric Sorensen and myself were talking late last night and early this morning, Eric, you and I thought this is a possibility that this baseball game between Ole Miss and Arkansas could be a 3-4 hour Yankee Red Sox game. And Eric joins me right now from Omaha. Man, this game barely lasted like 2.5 hours. It didn't even last that.
No. And Joe, first, thanks for having me on, and I'm really impressed with the whole thing you got going there, every possible social media platform. So thanks for having me on, Big Daddy. Look, if we're talking about the College World Series in 2022, we're talking about games that have gone 3.5, if it's Texas A&M, 4 hours. All these games have just droned on so long this week. And it's really been a shock that we get this game, which was 2 hours and 6 minutes. Just goes to show you what great, high-quality pitching was the College World Series. That was an amazing game. And for the fans that were out here and for me, the media that's all been out here, it was really a welcome change of pace to get a quick game in, and we get an evening where we're not getting home at 12 or 1 in the morning. So, yeah, there's a lot of advantages to how great this game was, pitching-wise and defense-wise.
Look, you had two teams that were throwing their aces, man. Like, I know this was the last game of the year for one of the two teams. It's the last game of the year for Arkansas. You saw them pitch everything that they had in this baseball game. But what happened between last night and tonight where Arkansas had the lead for majority of the game last night, and then early on in this ball game this afternoon, Ole Miss got the lead early, and you just saw suffocating pitching the entire time?
Yeah, that was it, man. Both these guys, these are Friday aces in the SEC, best conference in the country. They're going to have probably a quality outing. I don't think any of us expected quite what we got because, I was looking back and Dylan DeLucia had 6 innings where he went 3 up, 3 down, and Connor Nolan had 5 where he went 3 up, 3 down, and that's really amazing. And so, yeah, you kind of didn't know what you're going to get, though, because – both these guys were going on a little bit, shorter rest, and so we kind of weren't sure if they were going to be top quality. But, man, they were just shoving it all 9 innings for DeLucia and 8 of the 9 innings for Connor Nolan. You couldn't have asked for a better performance on the mound for either of these guys. I mean, this was really a transcendent performance from both of these dudes.
Okay, and so what happened to Ole Miss in your opinion? And for everybody that does not know, Eric Sorensen, you can follow him on Twitter at Stitch_head. He's the guy that literally is a bald guy, but that's the reason why we call him Stitchhead, because his head looks like a baseball. And he's from D1 Baseball, which if you do not subscribe to those guys, they have amazing content. You guys have like a team of like 20 guys that are there this weekend.
It seems like it, yeah.
I mean, seriously, between you on the field, Kendall Rogers, and everybody else that's doing the pregame shows and all of this stuff, you guys have this entire thing covered. So Eric is from Los Angeles. He's from the West Coast. So this is not somebody in the Southeast that is giving you this is what happens type of thing. But from your standpoint and watching Ole Miss over the past couple of weeks, where did this change take place?
Yeah, this was pretty amazing. I actually got a chance to see Ole Miss play against Mississippi State actually it was a Thursday night. They did a Thursday night game back in early April, and DeLucia did the same. Dylan DeLucia did the same thing he did tonight. Was cranking it and getting guys out. I think he had a 4 or 5 hitter in that game too. But this is an Ole Miss team. They end up losing the next 2 games to Mississippi State, so they were kind of in the doldrums at that time. And Coach Bianco will admit, they just weren't playing that well. They were putting too much pressure on themselves. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of they just kind of clicked for them. They kind of reworked their pitching a little bit behind DeLucia, and they had some guys that certainly stepped up, like Evan Taylor and Jack Doherty out of the bullpen. if everything just kind of came together. Now, if you don't remember, they were a preseason top 10 team, so people were expecting them to be pretty good, and then they just kind of got cold. And for a while there, it just looked it looked like they weren't going to make the NCAA tournament, no way, shape, or form. And B, it looked like Mike Bianca was going to get he was going to get fired. I mean, that's where they were in April. And man, things they just got hot at the right time and played up to their potential. And that just and then kind of like I said, they kind of made some pitching staff changes, and it just changed everything for the fortunes of that team. It's really impressive what they went through. And yeah, you're right. I mean, you go on the road both times, both regionals and super regionals, and win. You can't help but be impressed the way they turn things around in the postseason.
Well, and not only that, but yes, they were a preseason top 10. They were also number 1 in the country at one point in time until they lost to Tennessee, which then turned into the number 1 team, and they stayed that way until they were eliminated. But the way that the SEC has worked this year, man, is a lot of people are starting to question this whole Hoover SEC baseball tournament because Ole Miss got eliminated in quote-unquote day 1 because they lost to Vanderbilt in the first round. Arkansas didn't even make it to Saturday in the SEC tournament, and if you look at the 4 teams that were playing in the semifinals and the championship, none of them made it to Omaha. So it's almost as if, did it benefit them to be off for that period of time?
Oh, I've always thought that, Joe. I've always thought, especially teams that have their fate decided. I think, Ole Miss was in a little precarious position because they were the last team in the tournament, so losing that game in the SEC tournament could have been could have been a fateful mistake. But I've always said, look, if you've got your fate decided, if you're a Tennessee, really, what do you have to go? What do you have to prove by going to the SEC tournament? You're just going to burn some arms right before the NCAA tournament. Maybe risk some injuries. So yeah, I'm not shocked by that stat. I didn't realize what you're telling me about the 4 that the top 4 that didn't even make it, But I still think those tournaments, there's not a lot riding for some of these teams, and that's one of my biggest gripes about those big postseason tournaments where you have 8 or 10 or 12 teams make it in to the conference tournament. It just makes no sense to me. So it's kind of a good story. It's a good storyline to see Arkansas and Ole Miss not have great success during the SEC tournament, and then just kick it up a notch once the NCAA tournament comes around.
Well, I should rephrase what I was saying, is because out of the 4 teams that were playing in the final series in the semifinals, Texas A&M is the only one that made it to the College World Series and made it as far as they did. So so the Saturday, which happened on May 28th, you had Florida and Alabama playing each other. Florida won. They went on to play Texas A&M. They beat Texas A&M, made it to the SEC championship game. LSU played Kentucky after that. LSU loses to Kentucky. Kentucky loses to Tennessee, and then Tennessee goes on to beat Florida in the SEC championship game. And you mentioned Tennessee and the benefit that they may or may not have had at even playing in that tournament. Look, I'm sitting in Nashville right now. I mean, I know I'm only about a mile and away from Hawkins, but majority of this state is Tennessee, is a Tennessee Vol fandom. So what happened to them against Notre Dame? Was it dead arm? Was it the offense slowing down? Was it the karma that everybody wants to talk about?
The karma, yeah. No, it's weird, Joe, because, this is the third year, the third full season of college baseball where we've had a number 1 team that was number 1 for 12, 13 weeks. UCLA in 2019, Arkansas last year, Tennessee this year. And all 3 of those teams lose in the super regionals. Now, I'm not sure if it was dead arms or anything, but the one thing I will say is in the regionals, Tennessee it was a close game. It was right down to the wire with Campbell before they, scored 5 runs in the 9th, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And then, Georgia Tech had a lead on them going into the 9th. So I started looking at that thinking, something's going on with Tennessee. And that's why I decided to choose Notre Dame as my upset pick in the super regionals against Tennessee, because just like Arkansas last year, they've struggled with Nebraska really mightily and almost didn't make it out of the regionals. So I knew something was not quite right. And if you have a cold weekend at the wrong time, it can cost you. I think that's more of it for Tennessee than dead arms or, the arms being a problem. But man, I don't know. And the fact that Notre Dame was a team that had 8 starters that were grad students, so that's a 22, 23, 24-year-old guys out there playing against your team. So I think they just had a perfect storm of bad luck, a good opponent that had a chip on its shoulder,
Well, and that's why it's hard for this state because we did an event, and our own Don Davenport did an event with the Tennessee Vols basketball team, because tonight on the SEC network, in fact, it's airing as we speak. It was Catching 98, which was talking about Tamika Catchings and the 1998 Tennessee Vols basketball team. And Don told us just a little while ago that going up until this past weekend, they only had 150 people that had RSVP'd for that event that was going to happen last night. When the Vols lost to Notre Dame, they added 300 more RSVPs because everybody had made their trips, that made their plans for Omaha. They were all planning to be going out that way. And so you had a state that seriously, they were just like, everybody's still looking around going, what happened? Where did it go wrong?
Right.
What did we do wrong? And so now you look at Ole Miss, who did get eliminated in day one of the SEC tournament. They fixed everything in 10 days. They allowed the Arms to get some rest, and they're getting ready to take on this Oklahoma team, which, I mean, Oklahoma's had a few days rest. What is Ole Miss getting into on Saturday?
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. I mean, because if you had to pick a favorite, I think it would be OU. But, anything can really happen. I know Dylan DeLucia's not going to be available for them, or you don't think, unless maybe they go to a game 3 or something. But so for that, and the other thing is Tanner Treadaway and Graham Powell of OU, I don't think they've gotten out. It doesn't seem like they've gotten Peyton Graham. I had the wrong name. Peyton Graham and Tanner Treadaway. Those guys don't seem like they've gotten out yet in Omaha. It feels like they've just been so hot. So these are two guys that they're really going to have to deal with. And again, they're going to have to do it without their Friday ace, which is unfortunately, at least for the first 2 games for sure. So yeah, it's going to be tough. But again, this is one of those things where literally anything can happen, and it usually does, as we've seen in the College World Series. Nobody really had Ole Miss and Oklahoma as their choice of who would be in the finals, even at the beginning of this week, So, but yeah, again, Ole Miss kind of has their work cut out for them. I think that's goes without saying. But this is, God, this is a team I'm not going to bet against either. It's tough to bet against either one of these two teams. They're just both playing so well and have had a really great run here in Omaha.
Steven right now on our Zone TV chat says, don't let Oklahoma win. We can't let them walk into the SEC thinking that they own the conference. They have to earn it once they get here. And that's a question that's kind of popping up as we go along to this is, going into just like 24, 48 hours ago, we were talking about 4 of the 5 teams remaining in the College World Series are all from the SEC. But do we count Oklahoma? Because they're going to be here either in 365 days or 2 years. So do we count them in the SEC or no?
No, man. Look, I went to the Big 12 tournament. I covered that this year, and I'm pretty sure Oklahoma was there and won all 4 of their games against Big 12 competition. But you know what? Here's the thing, Joe. I'm a Nebraska kid at heart. I grew up in Omaha, and I grew up, getting my heart broken every year by Oklahoma beating Nebraska in football. So I've hated them for a long time in a way. But, to me, they've been a Big 8 team all these years, a Big 12 team. It's just gross that they're going to the SEC now. It rubs me the wrong way. But, let's count them as the Big 12 now. And you're right. I think a lot of those fans are going to be pulling for Ole Miss because they don't want OU getting the big hit right before they go into the SEC. That's a great point on your part, man. I like that.
Well, and that's where all of this comes in as far as and that's the reason why I tell everybody as we're talking tonight is we're joined by Eric Sorensen from D1 Baseball, who is yes, you grew up in Nebraska, you live on the West Coast, but I'm very curious about this whole SEC bias thing because of what we just joked about. 4 of the 5 teams from the SEC. You add in Texas and Oklahoma, you've got 6 of the 8 teams that are, you know what I'm saying? So, but what is it? Why is this happening? Because for people that don't realize this, and Eric, I know that you and I have talked about it, Eric travels all over the country to watch different baseball games in different ballparks and all this. So he sees a lot of baseball.
Oh, yeah.
What about the SEC is the reason why we saw half the field this year be SEC baseball teams?
Oh yeah, I mean it's look, the SEC. I'm not going to begrudge it at all because they've made the sport a lot more popular over the years. And come on, they've had the facilities built. They kind of got on the wagon early about it. Build the facilities, build it up, and people will show up and have good teams. Of course, I think LSU and Mississippi State kind of started that way back in the 80s. when they started making trips to Omaha. So yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. They're the best conference in the country, and they're playing each other every week, so they're used to that high level of baseball. Um, not that OU playing Texas or Texas Tech or a TCU isn't, or any of the ACC or Pac-12, you can throw them in there as well. But the thing is that the SEC has certainly circled the wagons on this sport earlier and better than everybody else has, and it's showing. It's showing in just about every year in the College World Series. I think there were three SEC teams last year. I think there were 4 in 2019. So yeah, it's showing up like that. And when OU and Texas get there, yeah, it's going to be even more Katie bar the door. You could end up a year where, like this year, it would be 6 teams in the SEC making it to Omaha. But at the same time, Joe, our sport, what I love about our sport is you get a Coastal Carolina, you get an Arizona, you get a Dallas Baptist, or going back a little bit farther, you get a Fresno State that can get to the College World Series and win it. So it's still anybody's ball game, but nobody does it better right now than the SEC.
Well, and I think that also makes those teams you just mentioned, why it makes it so special when a Coastal Carolina makes a run, a Long Beach State, some of those schools, because yes,
yeah.
I mean, look, we joke about it, and I just asked you, why is the SEC so great? But this isn't just something that I'm making up, because coming up next month, you're going to have a Major League Baseball draft where a lot of SEC players are going to be going in the first round.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and the other thing I should mention is the SEC's done a really good job of hiring good coaches and really good assistants. The coaching that you get, and this is certainly in the SEC and around the country, the coaching you get in college baseball now is so much better, and I think that adds a lot to it. And again, SEC gets a little bit better coaches out there, and that's added to it as well. You're right. Oh, and you're right. When we have the draft next week or next month, you're going to see a lot of dudes in the SEC. Their recruiting has been off the charts, over the last few years, obviously the last 15, 20 years. So the talent level has certainly risen to another level.
All right, now this is where I have to ask you to share your story with us, because I told everybody at the very beginning of this, look, I get Eric on every single year that I'm doing a show. I get him on to talk about the College World Series. And what people don't realize is it's one thing to go to Omaha. We've had Vanderbilt fans that are in our listening area that has absolutely went, obviously, with South Carolina, Auburn, Florida, LSU, all the teams, Kentucky. I mean, all these teams that have made it to the College World Series. A lot of people have went to Omaha, Tennessee last year. But what people don't realize about you, bro, is you do this a little bit differently when you go to Omaha to cover this. Am I right?
Yeah. I have this weird addiction. It's weird. I can't help it. But every year it's like coming home. I still have a lot of. In fact, I stay with an elementary school friend. We take over his basement every year for almost 2 weeks. But yeah, this is just something I've always loved. As a kid going to it, and as adults coming back to it, it's really always a lot of fun. It's Americana at its best. And yeah, you see different fan bases starting to embrace it every year. I think Arkansas took over the stadium when they were here this year, and Mississippi State did that last year too. They just took over the stadium for that championship series against Vanderbilt. So it's cool to see. It's cool to see the sport grow, and I'm glad to be a part of helping it grow. I think a small part of it, but still a part nonetheless. And yeah, this is just something we love to do. My wife comes with me, and she's my official photographer. She takes unbelievable pictures every year that she comes up here, and she's here for the whole time this year. So we have a great time with it, and it's kind of just something we've, like I said, it's kind of an addiction I can't kick, unfortunately.
Okay, so then you can explain the whole Rocco's Jello shots thing, because how did this get started, man? I mean, seriously. Look, Eric, we calculated this up earlier on 3HL. That restaurant has already made $82,000 just off of Jello shots this week. Where did this start? How did it start? Because it's become like internationally known now.
Oh yeah, look, I give them a ton of credit, because they know that when you get SEC fan bases involved in a competition, they're going to respond. I mean, those Jello shots are terrible. They probably don't even have alcohol in them, but they're going to look at a scoreboard and go, we cannot let such and such team beat us. No, we're going to order 1 million of these. The rumor was that some millionaire for Arkansas bought like 1,000 Jello shots, and I think they're $4.50 a shot too. So yeah, Rocco's has gotten. They've give them credit, man. They've pulled this marketing thing off just like a champion, and people have been eating it up. And then you also look like Stanford has maybe 100 Jello shots bought. That's because they're too smart to fall for something like this. That's the thing. But man, it's a great promotion for that restaurant, and they're racking it up. Like you said, I've heard rumors about how much money they've made too. Yeah, they're just racking it up, and more power to them because they work the system well.
Look, and that's the other part is there was a point in time when this update first came out about like the first 3 days of the Jello shots thing. Stanford only had like 9. Like there were only 9 Stanford students or whatever that had come in to buy Jello shots. Like that is not SEC caliber partying.
That's right. People, again, Stanford has what I've always said is the most intelligent fan base as far as, and they're an older fan base too, for the most part, that go to Stanford games, but they have a really good, loyal following. And I went to the regionals up there with them in Texas State, and that atmosphere was really almost, I dare I say, SEC like. It was really great atmosphere. But yeah, when it comes to Jello shots, I don't think they're going to fall for that trick. So yeah, I'm not shocked that they have the lowest amount of Jello shots at Rocco's.
Bro, before we let you go, and I know your wife's with you, and she's probably staring at you going, look, you just got finished doing at the game. Can you please get off the phone with this guy so we can go have dinner? I know, look, man, I'm married. I know how this goes now. I mean, I just feel it's like a feeling that I'm getting through the phone from your wife. Like, I can feel it. But do you ever get down to Tennessee, man? Like, I know that you travel a bunch. Do you ever get down this way?
Yeah, it's well. First off, to defend my wife, she left me in the car with the AC running and went inside where we're staying because we're cooking up steaks here in a little bit. So she said, "Take as much time as you want. You're on the phone with Joe Hunk. Go for it." So she's actually pretty cool about it.
I appreciate that.
But yeah. No, man, it's been probably about 5 years since I went to Hawkins Field last. I did a trip there and to Lindsey Nelson Stadium back when Tennessee was struggling, but with them playing. With that program, with Vitello turning that around like he has, I definitely want to get back to that again and experience it again because I went there on a random Saturday against Kentucky. That really didn't mean a lot, but man, now they're playing meaningful baseball. So, Joe, I vow I will try to get back to Vanderbilt and Tennessee again. I have been there before, but only once, so I look forward to getting back there again. To those great atmospheres. It'll be fun to do that hopefully next year.
Well, the reason why I ask you is because if you go to your Twitter profile and everybody that's in Tennessee that's hopping on and following you at Stitch_head, the first thing you say is you're a whiskey guy, and I'm just wondering if you've been to Lynchburg yet.
Yeah, I did a tour of. I also went to in the same trip that I went to those two places. I went to Louisville as well, and I did a tour of Woodford Reserve. Which was great. I freaking love Woodford Reserve, a great whiskey. And so, yes, I'm very much a fan of the Whiskey Trail or the whatever they call it there, and going to. I think I've also been to the Jack Daniel's distillery before as well. So yes, I'm a fan, and I vow to get back there again sometime in the near future. I swear.
All right, that's it. Because look, this is what we do in the South. That was my anniversary present to my wife. I took her on a tour of the Jack Daniel's distillery for our anniversary. I mean, that's love, man.
That is. And you know what, Joe? That just goes to show you chose correctly. Yeah, you did.
I appreciate it, but I'm telling you, and you know this from doing all of the whiskey tours, do not whiff the fermented whiskeys that is starting. No, that can, I'm telling you, bro, that was in my nostrils for 24 hours. I couldn't eat anything without tasting that fermenting smell.
Yeah, no, that's like dead man's butt, man. You don't want to have that. Yeah, I'm glad I skipped that part of it, dude. So yeah, no, you're right. I feel sorry for you, my man.
Man, I did. I was warned about it. They said, look, there's going to be a part where they're going to open up the fermenting. I call it a trough, but it's the fermenting canister, and they're going to tell you to take a whiff. Do not get too close because I promise you it'll be the worst thing you ever smell. And I barely even took a whiff. And that night, I was eating Lay's potato chips, and I could still taste the fermenting in my mouth as I was eating them. And I'm like, I can't enjoy anything. Like this is how you go on a diet and lose weight is you smell that, and then that's all you taste.
Actually, Mr. Hunk, you learned a valuable lesson then. You learned a valuable lesson that you won't do again. So there
No.
you go.
Well,
You live and you learn, man.
all right. Well, look, bro. I know you got to go in. You're cooking some steaks. I know your wife has
Yep.
been amazing to let us have you for a few minutes, bro. I really seriously appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. And look, I apologize for not getting you on for the last 2 years. Okay, I'm telling you this now
Nah.
because 2020. I'll be honest because this is what Eric he was busting my chops about this just a little while ago. 2020, obviously we had COVID. Nobody did anything. Okay. Last year, we did not start the strike zone until after the College World Series had already happened.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
So this is the first year that we're doing the show during the College World Series. So I knew I had to get you on. So that's the reason why I called you, man.
No, I dig that, and it sounds like somebody just hit a home run for tennis for your team in Nashville, right?
That is exactly what just happened. Somebody just hit a bomb.
Yes.
You nailed it.
I love that. That's great. No, look, Joe, I love the energy you bring. I love that you give the College World Series a little bit of a love here, and I'm willing to help you out on that. And so good luck with your show. I'll be a part of it again whenever you want next year. If it comes around again, absolutely hook me up, and that'll be fine. This has been a real kick, and I appreciate it, man.
Bro, I love you, man. Thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate everything that you do and you and your wife and all the photos and everything that you guys are putting out from Omaha, man, and I appreciate it, bro. Go enjoy the rest of your night, man.
All right, thanks for sharing the airwaves, Joe. We'll talk again.
All right, have a good one, bro. That is Eric Sorensen, as you just heard the doo-doo-doo. That was Eric Sorensen from D1 Baseball as he covers the College World Series like nobody else. And I'm telling you, go follow him on Twitter because, yes, he is a whiskey head. He is obviously the nickname is Stitch Head. He is absolutely great. And I will tell you the honest truth as well when it comes to his knowledge. Him and I were texting on the way over from the studio when I was driving over here, and he goes, "Hey man, I'm about to hop on ESPNU. I'll let you know if and when I can get on because I don't know how long I'm going to be on there." So I appreciate him coming on with the Strike Zone directly after going on ESPNU to talk about the College World Series. So get those tweets in, get those comments in as we continue going. I say get going, but as we continue here on the Strike Zone on this Thursday night. Now, the great thing about what is happening at First Horizon Park, I cannot stress this enough, because as you're watching right now, no matter where you are watching, at home, on Twitter, on Twitch, on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever, I believe in Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, all those, I hit the right ones. And you see the grass directly behind me that is starting to fill up. You hear the home run. We were just talking about that here just a few seconds ago. And so it's a beautiful night to be out at the ballpark because this is starting to slow down as far as the heat wave is concerned, because it's not that hot out here right now. I know that it was earlier. In fact, looking around the ballpark as we speak, you've got a lot of people that are still just now coming into the ballpark because you have the late start, 7:05, and then you also have the sun is starting to go down right now. So in fact, almost every bit of the playing surface is covered in shadow right now. So if you're coming into the ballpark as we speak, no matter where you're sitting, and outside of sitting in the outfield in the bandbox, you're going to be covered by shade tonight. Now, the cool thing about tonight, it is Pride Night that they are having. It is also Throwback Thursday, so you know that the Nashville Sounds are going to be rocking those throwback uniforms from 1978. In fact, that's the reason why I'm rocking the hat tonight, which you can get at the Pro Shop, by the way. This is part of my Father's Day presents. So you have all of that stuff going on right now. Everybody is celebrating Pride with this being Pride Month. The Sounds have been doing an amazing job tonight. They had the first openly gay professional baseball player that threw out the first pitch earlier in the night. So it's a lot of fun things that are happening, but that's just tonight. Now, tomorrow night, don't forget, because now we're at that time of year that fireworks are back here at First Horizon Park. So if you're going to be coming out to the ballpark tomorrow night, then you are going to be able to watch some of those immediately following the games. There's also going to be a jersey auction that is going to be taking place. Now, here's how the jersey auction works. If you've never been a part of a jersey auction when it comes to minor league baseball, the jersey auction for the Copa de Diversion, I believe I pronounced that right, jerseys that the Sounds are going to be wearing, that they're going to be wearing on Friday night as well as Saturday and Sunday. Those jerseys you can bid on, okay? Now, what is going to happen is once you win your jersey, you do not get the jersey right then. Why? Because the players got to wear them for the next 2 games. So what's going to happen is you're going to know which player's jersey you won. You will sit there, you can watch him play in it, all that. I mean, I guess you could request for it to remain damp would be a good word, but it's 100 degrees, so you may want the Sounds to wash it before they give it to you. And then once they're done with the jerseys, that's when you're going to be able to get it. But that auction is going to be happening tomorrow night, so make sure that you come here for that. So that is part of what's going to be happening this weekend. The other thing that's happening, what's up? I'm talking about you right now. Right now, I'm talking about you. He's coming over. Okay, I'm going to wait for him to get here. All right? Let's make sure that I get this right, okay? Because directly behind me right now, boom! This guy, Booster, the Rooster, Sunday afternoon. Kids Towel of Booster the Rooster. You can have it for the first 1,000 kids that come into the ballpark. Am I right? He's right. I'm right. That's right. Boom. Told you I was talking about you. Hey, thank you. I know I didn't rock the hog today. Look at the hat. You actually look good in the hat, bro. You look good. Booster the Rooster, man. I appreciate that. Bye. See you, man. So, yeah, so Booster the Rooster. I didn't rock the hawk today, mainly because, let's be honest, it's 100 degrees, and that just really wouldn't be smart on my part. But you have Kids Towel, a Booster the Rooster. If you don't know what a Kids Towel is, well, then you may not have kids, because I have like 50 of these, not 50 of the Booster the Rooster ones, but I have like 50 of these Kids Towels. It's the one that you can put over your kids whenever they get out of the bath or the shower, and you can wrap them all up in it, and it dries their head off and all that sort of stuff at the same time. It's a really cool towel, so you can get that as well. So all of that's going to be happening this weekend. And by the way, if you missed last night was their jersey giveaway. R.A. Dickey, his Tennessee Vols jersey, Sounds gave that away last night. So make sure that if you missed that, I'm sure you're going to be able to want to make it to the next jersey giveaway, so that's going to be happening. Get those questions in. We got them on Twitter. We got them on Facebook. We got them on Twitch. All of those as we go throughout the night. The weird thing about this part of the season is exactly what we were talking about with Eric Sorensen, is there's a lot of Tennessee baseball fans, and to an extent some Vanderbilt baseball fans, but I think Tennessee baseball fans were the ones that were really hyped up on this baseball season that didn't expect what happened last week to actually happen. So what they have done over the course of the last 4 or 5 days has been trying to kind of get over everything that's happened. So what we thought we were going to be doing today is we thought we were going to be recapping Tennessee baseball. Like that was the plan 2 weeks ago, is, hey, we're going to have some people on to talk about it. We're going to be having fun with it, and it hasn't happened. So you have this part of the year for the state of Tennessee is now that transitioning from focusing on Tennessee baseball, Vanderbilt baseball. Yes, with what we talked about with Eric just a few moments ago, you're going to be looking towards the MLB draft, which is going to be happening, sadly, for baseball fans, because this is going to be totally 100% overshadowed. Do not act like it is not going to, okay? Because if you do not know the dates of the MLB draft, I'm about to give them to you because I have them right here in my day planner, because I keep up with all of this stuff because I need to be planning for things that are going to be coming up in the future, not only with the strike zone, but also with 3HL. The Major League Baseball draft is a 3-night event that is going to be happening July 17th, 18th, and 19th. Why does that suck if you are a Tennessee Vol baseball fan? Why does that suck if you are a baseball fan altogether? You are going to get overshadowed. It's going to happen. There's absolutely nothing that any baseball fan can do about the Major League Baseball draft. Not because MLB Network is not doing a better job in promoting the MLB draft, because they absolutely are. The problem with where the MLB draft is this year, and I specify this year because the MLB draft actually used to take place during Super Regionals. So unless your team had been eliminated, you had zero opportunity to actually be there in person if your team was playing in the College World Series. The MLB draft this year is going to be going on right in the middle of SEC Media Days. Just is. Sunday night into Monday. Monday morning, when you wake up, you're going to be like, okay, so where did Drew Gilbert go? All right, where did Jordan Beck go? And all you're going to see is Tennessee Vols football, SEC Media Days, Atlanta College Football Hall of Fame. They're not going to be talking about the MLB draft. I do appreciate the fact that the MLB has decided to push the draft back, but for some reason, they are never smart about when they actually do the draft, because this is a layup. It is the biggest layup in baseball, okay? I personally love the WBC, the World Baseball Classic. It didn't serve benefit. It did not benefit a lot of people because the players and especially the pitchers that pitched in these games kind of struggled early on in the season because of how they had to get ready quickly and then it slowed down and get ready quickly and slow down based on their pitching routines in spring training. If you're Major League Baseball, and I'm begging you to be listening to this, if you are Major League Baseball, make the MLB draft. Lead that into the All-Star game. It is a shoo-in, okay? You have the draft in whatever city you are going to have the All-Star game. So this year, for instance, where everybody's going to be in LA, this year, you do it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, leading into Monday of the Home Run Derby into Tuesday. You have the first round draft picks at the games. You showcase them. You show them off. You do everything that you can because that is your biggest audience when it comes to nationally televised baseball games for the regular season. The All-Star game is a massive show and pulls a humongous number for Major League Baseball. Use that time to make sure that you focus all of your attention on the future of the game. I get that Friday afternoon you have your futures game. You do the futures game Friday afternoon. You go into Friday night where you have the round one of the draft. You then have the next draft rounds on Saturday and Sunday. And then when you get into Monday where there's all these festivities taking place at the stadium, that's when you should have all the young players, all the first round picks there signing autographs, meeting fans, and letting fans be able to get up and close and personal because all of these different fan bases will be coming to LA. All of these different fan bases came to Denver last year. All of these different fan bases are going to be in one location, and Major League Baseball is screwing up by not having the draft in the city that they're having the All-Star game because the audience is built in, not just on the field, but also off of the field so that you can be able to watch and be able to participate and have the best usage of promoting your game throughout the sport itself. Because right now, this is that weird period of time because if you're baseball fans, look, I get that you're excited about the Braves. Heck, I'm excited about the Braves. Tonight, earlier today, Dansby Swanson had 2 home runs, had 3 hits. Kyle Wright gave up 4 runs, got the win, though. He still has a sub-3 ERA for the Braves. The Braves are now 4 games back of the New York Mets, playing so much better, and they're doing this without Tyler Matzik as well as Eddie Rosario. Now, if you missed that news a little while ago, and matter of fact, it happened yesterday afternoon, Brian Snitker, the manager for the Atlanta Braves, said that both Matzik as well as Eddie Rosario are very close to making rehab stints in the minor leagues before going and coming back up with the parent club. Now, I don't know if that means today. I don't know if that means next week. I don't know what that means, but the Gwinnett Stripers are in Nashville for the next 3 days, and the Braves are in town in Atlanta taking on the LA Dodgers for the next few days. So if they were wanting to get Matzik some work, They can do it here in Nashville, which is still close to where the parent club is going to be playing. So there is a possibility that if there's a minor league stint, then Matzik could be coming here. Eddie Rosario could be coming here. That's just a thought process about the way that this works. Now, some teams, that doesn't always happen. In fact, you have a player like Mike Brasso, who started the season here in Nashville, got called up to the Brewers, got injured, got put on IL. The Brewers just activated him earlier today, and he's actually going to be playing his minor league stint up in Wisconsin for the Brewers minor league affiliate there instead of coming back to Nashville where he started the season off. The reason being, Brewers are in town. So if he does well, he can be able to get to Milwaukee a little bit quicker by practicing there a little bit sooner. So that is some of the things that you could be paying attention to with the Braves. Now look, I'm not telling you to come out to First Horizon Park, but this is always a unique weekend for First Horizon Park because this is where the fandoms of two teams kind of come together. Because a lot of people that are Nashville Sounds fans become Milwaukee Brewers fans, depending on what your feelings are about individual players. And obviously, with it being Nashville in the state of Tennessee, this is also a part of Braves country. So you have not only Braves fans here tonight, but you also have Brewers fans. So I've seen a ton of fans walking around rocking their Atlanta Braves stuff. And now the cool part about this is the players that you are going to be seeing from Gwinnett over the next few days. Drew Waters, the number 2 overall prospect for the Atlanta Braves. Bryce Elder, who's the number 4 pitching prospect. He hasn't been pitching very well, but he actually was with the major league team, and then he got demoted in May, so he's kind of been struggling right in the minor league level as well. Then you have somebody like Shoemaker right there. I'm literally looking at him from behind right now because he's a shortstop for the Braves. He's batting .256 right now. He's the Atlanta Braves' number 5 prospect. Tucker Davidson pitched last night for Gwinnett. He's the number 7 prospect for the Braves. Obviously, he's been up and down with the team depending on when the spot starts are going to be going. And there's also a picture that I'm very interested in watching tonight, and it's going to be Victor Vodnik. Now, and the reason I say tonight, it could be over the course of the next few days, he is a relief pitcher for Gwinnett. And remember, there was a point in time where the Braves, well, the entire pitching staff was struggling, just to be honest with you. Vodnik started off in Double-A Mississippi earlier this year. He got called up in June, and so far through 11 innings, because he only comes in for about an inning or so every time he comes in relief, he's throwing 3.27. Not amazing for a pitcher right now. It's still a sub-4 ERA, but you're also talking about through 11 innings. The reason why he got called up is because so far in Double-A baseball, he has not given up a single run. So far, he's actually, his entire season so far in Mississippi, Pearl, Mississippi to be specific, he hasn't given up a single run this baseball season. So the way that this is going for him is you could be seeing a pitcher that the Braves could be calling up here in the next few days or the next few weeks could be extremely important, because that could be one of your bullpen arms that could be coming into effect at some point in time here in the next few weeks. Now, if you also missed the news, Major League Baseball is trying to do something that goes back to the humidors. It goes back to making sure that Major League Baseball and every single team is playing on an equal surface, and that is called muddying of baseballs. Now, the muddying of baseballs is something that is as old as time when it comes to professional baseball. And what happens with the muddying of baseballs is a lot of times relief pitchers, bullpen guys, people that are honestly just are on the team and they don't have anything else to do, those are the players that muddy the baseballs up before a baseball game. So you always heard this idea and these comments of who's getting the pearl tonight. It's an old baseball term. Who's getting the pearl tonight? Well, that means the baseball. Now, why was it nicknamed a pearl? Because in some instances, a pearl is what a baseball feels like when you first get it, because it's very slick. Now with the way the baseballs are being designed, the seams are very low, so there's not that much room for you to be able to grip the seams whenever you're trying to throw the baseball, so it's been nicknamed a pearl. So what happens is you get 12 new baseballs. Hey, I got a dozen new baseballs. Go grab them. you get those dozen baseballs, and when you get those baseballs, you then have to do something called muddying up the baseball. And what that is you get this substance. No, not spider tech. We're talking about real substances that are actually legal with baseball. You get those substances, and those substances you put on the ball so that you can put some grip on the ball. Because if you put your fingers on a baseball and you try to throw four seam, two seam, splitter, no matter what it is, the ball's going to slip and you're not going to have any grip or any control of it. A lot of the control a pitcher's going to be talking about comes from the muddying of the baseball. So you don't want to throw a baseball that is 100% brand new directly out of the box, because that thing is going to go 15 rows up like Bill Murray throwing out the first pitch at Wrigley Field. Like it's going to fly on you because you don't have any control or any grip out of it. So what baseball has done in the past is they say every team's got to muddy up their baseballs. So the best definition is given by Jesse Rogers from ESPN when he was writing the article about it. And he says, muddying is the process of removing gloss from new baseballs to give pitchers better grip. It's been used in the game for decades. So that's what it's doing. So what baseballs are doing is now, because of spider tech, because of teams that have been stealing signals, teams that have been stealing signs and doing things for baseballs, like, the cutting. You ever remember watching Major League and you hear I'm throwing everything I got at him, Skipper, and he takes off his shirt and he's got, jelly everywhere and he's got stuff in his hat and he's using his sweat and he uses Tabasco sauce on his tongue to get more saliva so he can get better grip, all this stuff. And now what Major League Baseball is having to do is they are videotaping clubhouse attendants muddying the baseballs, because they are recording their techniques to see if what they are doing is the proper way for muddying. So right now, for a good attendant, you're talking about a 30 to 40 second process. And what Major League Baseball is going to be doing is they are putting out a memo of the way in which they want for every single attendant to muddy a baseball. It has to be the exact same way. It is going to be reviewed by Major League Baseball, and this is all an effort to make sure that Major League Baseball is getting as much parity as it possibly can because of the complaints that we have had over the past few years about different baseballs in different areas and different players that have done everything else that's been going on. That's where we're at in 2022 in Major League Baseball. So make sure that if you pick up a baseball that has been hit to you, if you get a foul ball, whether it's here at First Horizon, whether it is at Truist Park or any other Major League stadium, Great American Ballpark, look at the baseball and make sure that you feel it and you can see how the ball has been muddied up. Now, before we go tonight, first off, follow me on Twitter at Joe Hunk. You can also follow 1045 The Zone on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook, all of those places. I don't know about you, but the whole Cleveland Guardians thing is still very weird to me, just because I'm so used to the Indians and because I feel like the Guardians idea is literally just the laziest way possible to change the name of the Cleveland Indians to a team that is going to be socially correct for a lot of people so that they won't get mad about the word Guardians. But if you do not know, the Cleveland Guardians right now are in first place of the AL Central. Now, why is that impressive? Because I know it's very hard to watch Cleveland. And for people that have forgotten, after decades and decades of us focusing on the Boston Red Sox and the Chicago Cubs having the longest drought in baseball history, do not forget, it is now the Cleveland Guardians that have went the longest between World Series championships. It has been over 60 years. Heck, I think it's getting close to 70 years now since the Cleveland Guardians, then the Cleveland Indians, have won a Major League Baseball championship and won the World Series. So I do bring that up because they are in first place, but the impressive part about them being in first place is they are the youngest team in Major League Baseball. They're averaging 26 years old. Now, Okay, they're 26 years old. They're the youngest team in baseball. They are in Major League Baseball. So what? The Cleveland Guardians right now are also the youngest team in AAA. If the Cleveland Guardians were to all go down to AAA, they would be the youngest team. There are AAA teams that are older than what the Cleveland Guardians are. Jose Ramirez, let me ask you, Jose Ramirez, think real fast. You've learned about him over the past 4 or 5 years. How old is Jose Ramirez? Jose Ramirez is 29 years old. He is the second oldest fielder on the team. He's tied with Austin Hedges, and he's directly below their backup catcher, who is 31 years old. Jose Ramirez is 29. He is one of the oldest players on the team. You can look around this team, and you can Andres Jimenez. If you don't know who he is, it's okay. Again, he's 23 years old. He's the second baseman for the Cleveland Guardians. Right now, he is batting .304. He has an amazing OPS of .834. Jose Ramirez is already over 1,000 with his OPS. He's having a tremendous season. He leads the team in home runs with 16. But the crazy thing about Jose Ramirez is, and you may know this by looking at his MLB The Show card, he leads the team in stolen bases with 12. He almost has as many stolen bases right now as he does home runs, and this is one of the premier third basemen in Major League Baseball. He has 12 home runs this year, or I should say he has 16 home runs this year. He has 12 stolen bases. Miles Straw, who is the team's center fielder, has 11 home runs or has 11 stolen bases behind Jose Ramirez right here. Those are your two fastest guys. By the way, if you don't know what Jose Ramirez looks like, do yourself a quick little Google search. That doesn't look like a man that knows how to steal a base. But he's flying so far this year. I don't know if this Cleveland Guardians thing is going to keep up, mainly because when you look at this team's starting pitching, the starting pitching right now is not the best in baseball. They have one of the top 10 ERAs in baseball, but a lot of this is coming because of their bullpen, because of Emmanuel and their closer. Eli Morgan has been pitching very well for this team. Trevor Stevens has been pitching all right. Then you have Sam Hinchins, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. It's Hentges. He's got a sub-2 ERA right now as we talk about. Brian Shaw, who is different than Miles Straw, he's got a sub-4 ERA right now. So the team, and the reason why they're playing so well is I think mostly because of their bullpen, because when you look at their starting pitching, Shane Bieber has a 3.00 ERA right now. That's the lowest on the team. Tristan McKenzie, who is one of their young pitchers, he's 24 years old. He's got a sub-4 ERA, but it's 3.51. They're giving up some runs, but it's this bullpen that's really helping them win right now. Starting staff begins to pitch a little bit better later on in the season so that maybe they can potentially continue to get a little bit better and possibly beat out the Chicago White Sox, because this division is going to be Cleveland and Chicago. Detroit is a mess. Kansas City is a mess. So neither one of those teams are going to set up and going to be able to play and be able to take on Chicago and Cleveland. And obviously Minnesota's, they should be better than what they are, but they're not right now. So keep paying attention to those Cleveland Guardians. If you have a fantasy baseball team, pick up some of those guys. See if you can probably help you out, specifically bullpen arms that can help you out in the short term. If you're struggling with your bullpen arms, pick some of those guys up. I appreciate everybody that watched tonight, that listened tonight. Eric Sorensen for joining us as he's sitting in his car, and his wife is went into the house so that they can cook steaks while they're out in Omaha. I really do appreciate it. Make sure that you follow him on Twitter at @Stitch_head. We're gonna hang out for a little bit longer here at First Horizon Park. It's Pride Night here. It's been an extremely fun night so far here at the ballpark. Make sure that you get down to First Horizon. We can have a little bit more fun before we bolt here on 104.5 The Zone and The Strike Zone. Make sure that you follow us on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook, and everywhere else that you possibly can. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We will talk to you next week live once again from First Horizon Park, because The Sounds are in the middle of a 14-game homestand. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.